Hi, morning everyone. My name's Matt from Free at 46. I'm just a guy in Silicon Valley who achieved early financial independence, sharing a little bit of my learnings and thoughts along the way. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about a book that I read that had a huge impact on my life and possibly will have a huge impact on your life as well. And that book is called Die with Zero by Bill Perkins. So if you haven't read the book, I'll just share a little bit about the high level and how it's impacted my journey over the last few years since reaching financial independence. So the book essentially talks about people living on a delayed life plan. So like a lot of folks, as we're working, as we're grinding, we're thinking about having to save, having to hit a specific number, and a lot of people end up suffering from one more year syndrome. And Bill talks a lot about this in the book, and it looks different for different people. But the gist of it is that a lot of people are optimizing for a life that they may never be able to live. And so that can look like, grinding away for another year to make sure that you have quote unquote enough. But by that time, you're in your 50s, you're in your 60s, you're in your 70s. And what a lot of people fail to realize is that tomorrow is not guaranteed for any of us. And so this message really impacted how I think about my financial planning and my life plan specifically. So I want to get into that a little bit, but that's a high level overview of the book. If you haven't read it, go ahead and check it out for sure. So for me personally, one of the big changes with this was really thinking to myself, what is enough? And defining that and really taking a hard look at that. And the answer, the easy answer, of course, is more. But when you really get into it and measure what do you actually need versus what do you actually want and what's bringing you happiness, you might surprise yourself and find out that you come up with a vastly different number from what you had imagined you actually need. So for me, this was actually a smaller number than I thought I had needed. And it led me to the realization that I'm free today. And so once I hit that, I was able to think about, the more important question, which is really, how do you really want to spend the best years that you have left? So one of the concepts that Bill talks about in the book that resonated with me is this idea of memory dividends. So really, these are the things that you can only do at this time in your life with these people in your life currently to get the best experiences that you can. He talks a lot about interviews with people on their deathbeds, and I've read other books about this where the things that really stick with them are not the promotion that you got, not the extra raise, not the extra meeting that you were in, certainly none of that stuff. It's really about the experiences that we have. And so one of the things that Bill talks about in the book is that these experiences have different value at different points in your life. So an example of this is, it might be your lifelong dream to go visit Machu Picchu, with your kids. But the reality is, you're not doing that when you're 70. You're not doing that maybe when you're 60. So thinking about, how many years you have left to go and live those experiences and actually plan those really helps to reframe, how you might think about early retirement and early freedom going forward. So for me, for example, I'm here in Hawaii this week and I'm enjoying it because I can, and it's great. And I think that that's something I wouldn't have done a few years ago. I would have delayed it or I would have shortened the vacation. Whereas here, I'm just combining the work that I'm already doing on my own with this free time to live life on my own terms. So that's a little bit of my thoughts on Die with Zero and the concept there. The other thing that I would say too that I just remembered is the idea of inheritance. So this was another big one for me as well, where I used to think about how can I create something for my kids growing up so that they'll inherit something. And one of the big resets that came up for me from reading the book was if you are leaving an inheritance to your children or to other people, those dollars are dollars that represent life you have not lived. And so he gives a couple of great examples of, rather than leaving your kids money or leaving people money, what if you were able to redirect that and give that to them while you were alive? How much more rewarding would that be if you were able to see the effects of helping them start a new business, helping them get into a home, helping them to get married, whatever goals, hopes, and dreams that they have? That's going to be far more impactful than leaving them a piece of paper when you die with money that they may not even be able to enjoy because they'll be old at that point as well. So that was another point that really hit home for me from this book. So to sum it up, really the cool things that I think are really valuable takeaways from Die with Zero are: one, create life dividends today. Think about what those are. Make your bucket list, go and do it to the extent that you can, and live life today while you can. The other one is don't delay helping others. So when you're on your deathbed and you've got 30 years of helping children or relatives or other people that you care about and seeing the impacts of that, that's a life well lived. So for me, these are two of the key takeaways. I hope this is helpful for you in how you think about your early retirement or early freedom journey. This is Matt from Free at 46 signing off. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.